This seems too good to be true. It's like everything you're saying is exactly what a critic of like MamaMax and Spencer at the time would want to hear. You can say what you want, but the way she made me laugh, and I also found her beautiful. That is the most unbelievable part of this so far. He only wanted to help for the money, so he never paid any of my medical from the start. He was buying food at first, but then he realised the bills are too high, and Spencer probably is turning on MamaMax. And I think this is just Spencer's whole thing.
Now, she had a job at a vape shop, but she couldn't hold it down because she had to mop a floor, and she refused to do so because of her disability, or at least...
MamaMax. Looks like there's been another update in the MamaMax, the never-ending MamaMax drama fiasco. Still no response from him. He hasn't responded to any of the kind of criticisms that were levied en masse to him around January time, and the kind of fall of his profile and his reputation as a pred hunter, when it was revealed that, for example, he hadn't actually ever gotten anyone arrested, despite claiming that he had, and a lot of what he was doing was just a big facade, and also these kind of extremely aggressive and malicious allegations that he made against people like Magnetar. Anyway, guys, obviously a little bit has happened since then, but this is probably the most, I'd say, significant kind of update relating to that drama that actually happened. And that is the fact that, from what I can gather, it looks like Spencer has actually turned on MamaMax. And she's somewhat like Camden Gerard Davising him. Now, one problem I've got with some of this stuff is that it's all coming off the MamaMax discussion subreddit. And I feel like they're saying, oh, this person is credited, this person is verified, and we know who this person is. And I'm just like, how can we trust this, though? Is this actually legitimate? Too good to be true. DMs are fake. Are they? Really? Actually? What? I don't know, man. I just hate the idea that someone who I don't have any faith in or know is verifying something for me. And so I'm a bit dubious about it. And I'm a bit untrusting of some of the aspects of it, right? So I guess we'll kind of just roll with it and see how far we get. Anyway, so this is the post, I think, that kicked it all off from the subreddit here. So, yeah, the truth about Spencer, submitted by Had Diesel. So apparently Had Diesel is this sort of source of information for this. So, you know, take it with a pinch of salt, but let's see what's what with this. I've known Spencer since I was 15. I want to clear the air. She was always kind to me, so it hurts me to post this, but also she kind of abused my empathy in her to the fullest. And I know somewhat enough, I think, to make a credible post, and I have receipts if needed. She did go missing at a point in time, but knew of Max, and Max knew her. Camden did have Spencer come to Georgia. She says she talked her way into getting on a bus, but when she told me that story after years of not seeing each other because of seeing Camden and the whole situation, then reconnecting, she told me he bought her the ticket. Right, okay. I never knew about the vampire werewolf stuff, but I know she wrote fan fiction about it, and I feel maybe she was so lost on the internet that this fantasy could become real to her. I don't know. Like, already in reading this, I'm a bit like, this seems too good to be true. It's like everything you're saying is exactly what a critic of like MamaMax and Spencer at the time would want to hear, right? So I'm a bit skeptical. You know, I'm willing to look at these messages. They could well be real. I'm just a bit like, okay, but how do I know that I can trust Had Diesel? Like, I'm going off of this subreddit that this person is trustworthy and legitimate. Lyrics just verified that the person knew Spencer and had pics with her. But the problem is that even if there's pics with her, it doesn't mean that what she's saying here is true and correct. And then obviously we'll get to them, but we got these messages, which apparently is Spencer essentially turning on MamaMax privately to this person? Yeah, I've got Hadrian Dev's video as well. So I'm just a little bit dubious in this, and like, okay, I'm already skeptical, willing to accept that what's being said here is totally truthful, but how I don't know this person. I mean, it could be true that they know Spencer, and I would, yeah, gullible Lyric said it's true. No. I think that they could well know each other, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everything said here is true. So just have a level of skepticism, I guess. Anyway, moving on. She never told me she would recruit other younger underage girls for him. She told me he was doing this to other girls, and it was a cult that other girls were involved in. I think she hid this information from me because of how it would look. When I found out just yesterday through an edit clip of their podcast that she basically groomed girls, I was disgusted. As we bonded over being groomed, I felt for her because I had a bad situation happen to me before and I understood her. And when I found out she did that and never told me or others I was friends with who would hang out with her and she would casually share this story, often she never mentioned grooming or bringing in other girls. I guess because of that reason, she was grooming. Lyrics was conflicted. On one hand, Max is bad, but on the other, all women lied. Yep, true. She has no disability. Okay. I myself was paid to take her to get it checked out so she could receive disability checks. Essentially, she was denied because there was no disability. Yeah, fading fast makes a good point. All this shit is catty schizo bitches talking shit about each other. I don't believe anything 100%. Like, exactly, if this person was like friends with MamaMax, I mean with Spencer, like they're probably a totally insane person themselves. Okay. Later on in our friendship, she mentioned a guy that has a YouTube channel, MamaMax, who she was friends with for years, wants to get justice for her and the other girls, and it would take some years to do this. I thought it was great because she will be getting justice. She opened up about her many miscarriages, and as someone who has miscarried, I also felt bad, but in the back of my mind found it odd, the amount of miscarriages she had in the course of a couple of months and years. Like, this feels like it's written specifically to appeal to those critics who followed this story closely. And there's beats in this that are like, oh yeah, that was really stupid. Is this not a bit bizarre reading this? Like it's been crafted to appeal to you as someone who's likely a critic of MamaMax and followed the drama closely? Yeah, it's like all the same criticisms that have already been made. Like, if it's been verified to some degree that they knew each other, fine. But this doesn't make all of this true. It reads like a fanfic of someone who wants to appease people who want to shit on MamaMax. Rightly so, of course. Because MamaMax is a fucking sack of shit. But, in terms of all the stuff that happened. But, I don't know, bro. It's like, yeah, I've heard all this. I've made some of these points myself. And now it's being relayed back to me by you, someone who claims to be friends with Spencer or has known Spencer. There's something not quite right with this, is all I'm saying, okay? There's something not quite right with all of this, and I would not accept this without skepticism and scrutiny. I would be very cautious about just thinking, oh yeah, this is all definitely true. It's okay to read it, engage with it, and think about it and talk about it, but definitely not to believe it's all definitively true. It was too many for the body and not physically possible, and the timing of pregnancy and miscarriage never added up. But again, I allowed my emotions and empathy to get the better of the truth. My mom had also had 3 miscarriages in the course of 6 years. You can't have 5 miscarriages in a year, you know? Anyway, not to trauma dump, she would share these stories with other people I would introduce her to, and they would always tell me that she is lying, but she's so deep in her lies that she believes them. I have a friend who is a psychologist. We all went to a club together, and when he met her, he said she definitely has trauma. Wait, what? You went out together, and your psychologist friend started telling you all about this person's trauma. That seems very unbelievable to me. That seems utterly insane that this just happened. Okay. But from unhealed trauma, she's developed a victim mentality and even believes lies she says to stay being a victim. This just seems like such an odd thing that your friend who's a psychologist starts using his professional aspect to diagnose this person to you. What? She cannot have normal disagreements or issues. They have to be extreme. At the club, the moment she was not the centre of attention, she wanted to leave and forced us to end early. She also asked to live with me. As someone who also was in domestic abuse situation years ago, I felt for her abuse from situations she would talk about. I felt bad. I wanted to help, but I needed her to know she needed to work. I also had another roommate at the time, and I didn't feel comfortable having her there and live because they felt we would become caretakers, and she would not actually work as she is openly adamant that she can't hold a job because of this disability that is never addressed. As someone with a physical disability... Okay. Alright. The downside, but I suppose... Okay, that's fair. You still go to work. Good for you. You're not a total bed blob. I respect that. A mental one, I still go to work every day. Everyone has shit going on. You work to improve your life, and I wrongly felt I could encourage that on them. I pay $1,500 in rent and have 2 jobs. I let her stay with me for a week because a certain situation was getting more abusive as she claimed. I just paid my expensive rent. So is there any, like, if you live together for a period of time, maybe this is in the evidence we get shown later, and I'm pause Andying this statement. But surely you'd be able to document this in some way. Like, you'd be able to show us messages. Like, you guys probably have lived with people. What normally happens, you normally communicate with each other via text message about certain things. So surely that should be something that should be demonstrated in some way, right? So surely there should be some evidence that you can show to demonstrate whatever the point of this part is of you living together. I just paid my expensive rent. It's an op for his silencing all survivors vid. I'd bet money on it. What, so you think like maybe this is some sort of plant and like this is part of a thing he's going to do where he's going to take people that are totally taken in by this statement and, you know, he's going to like use it and be like, look at these people believing things about me just off the back of anonymous posts. Something like that, maybe. Could be, couldn't it? He's a fucking nutter, so it could be. I just paid my expensive rent and had $10 or $20 to last till next week. She openly complained about the food I had bought, as it was my till next check food, which was gross frozen meals and vegetables. I kind of became offended because I'm trying to help you, you know? That raised a flag, which should have had a flag raised long time ago, but I finally became weary and immediately took her home the next night. I would actively send her jobs hiring near her in walking distance. Well, the walking distance part would probably be a problem for her, no? I would tell her about Lyft, that they will cover your rides till you get paid. I kept telling her ways to improve the situation and she wouldn't. From there, I just ghosted her. I didn't want to, and I felt bad, and she responded in some angry messages. But I didn't know how to confront her. As someone who's been through a lot of bad shit, I was unsure if she was telling the truth and I was being rude and not believing, or if she was lying and I'm right. I became very confused. I don't know why, but I did. And I typically have a really strong head on my shoulders. I had feelings for her as well. You can say what you want, but the way she made me laugh, and I also found her beautiful. Okay, bro. Okay. That is the most unbelievable part of this so far. Something ain't right about this. Something ain't fucking right about this statement. I'm not crazy. Something is amiss with this whole situation. Anyway, we stopped talking, and a year later, she reached out and apologized for everything. I forgave, and I apologized for not being able to communicate to her. Again, this should be something surely that you could demonstrate and screenshot, no? And I haven't read the messages, but I've skimmed through them, and it looks to all be about how much of a shitter MamaMax is. So yeah, I don't know. Is there more evidence of this person's interactions with Spencer that I'm not seeing? I just am not willing to take the word of a subreddit. Especially when there's definitely gay op potential at play. But her trying to force herself to stay in my apartment and saying she could feed me and take care of me to make up for not being able to work. And all of a sudden, more drama and abuse was getting worse. Something not right. She also has a partner online, and they finally met twice, and within a week of meeting up, she all of a sudden miscarried from having sex and admitted he didn't come in her. Okay. What's going on? What is this fucking story? Now we're talking about Spencer getting cream pied and shit. What the fuck? Or not getting cream pied, I should say. Finally met twice, and within a week of meeting up, she all of a sudden miscarried from having sex and admitted he didn't come in her. I was like, okay, that's such a lie, which was another thing that made me back off. I wouldn't even... Oh my god. That's just a sickening thought, honestly. When I saw her posting on Facebook, I checked in to make sure she was okay. She was living with Max. She says he is not abusing her, just being verbally aggressive. And they are not in a relationship. Okay? I mean, there was obviously the memes of, the big fat woman and the slim guy behind. That got turned into MamaMax and Spencer. I think someone sent that to me and we showed it on stream. So at least we know that. So apparently, allegedly, they weren't in any sort of relationship. Does the cream pie make her a sperm whale? Right, okay. Okay. These are getting a bit much, honestly. I must say. Anyway, come on, let's try and get through this. She also asked me not to post anything because people were harassing her. When I realised what this all had to deal with, I felt like making this post. I think Spencer has a habit of wanting to live with people to escape and not put in effort to work or improve. Okay, like that I already think that's the case from the sounds of it. But anyway, this cult essentially holds no sustenance, and a lot of it is embellished. Were these other women's victims? Most definitely, and her I cannot speak on. But she's a habit of using people, and I think MamaMax thought he was going to get some fame out of it, but realised there's nothing there. It's a tragic story, and I'm sure Spencer went through stuff. But Spencer lies and steals. They stole my Coraline doll. My dad got me in high school. Lol. It's a silly thing, I know, but it's my favourite movie, and my dad got it for me. Like, how crazy to steal a doll. They have a habit of making themselves a victim for people to feel sorry, and will even find a new lie to match up to your trauma. If they aren't a centre of attention, they will become sad and start trauma dumping so everyone would listen. I mean, that is a weird detail. See, that is like a weird detail to make up. See, that maybe swings me a bit more the other direction, where I'm like, making up someone stealing a Coraline doll of yours, like such a specific memory, it would be so weird to make that up and to lie about that. So that adds some credibility, funnily enough, I think, to this story. But that's like a small drop of credibility in amongst all the other stuff that looks fucking insane. Anyway, that looks a bit like this could be some sort of weird gay op. People didn't want to bring me around anymore because I was hanging with her, and I don't blame them. It's all bullshit. That's it. That's all I have to say. I'm sure Camden did something, but it was role-playing taken too far. Okay. So some of this, yeah, obviously I'm going to just agree with. That sounds like that's what it was. They can work, they can get a job. They aren't being abused in the way they are broadcasting it to be. They just don't want to put in the work. She says that Max owes her $5,000, I'm guessing that is, and she never received it till finally she bugged him enough and he said he would pay her in installments. I think the videos did not get enough views, or he did not receive the revenue he thought he would off of her and could not keep the agreement of money. And some of the money she did have already that he gave her, she is used to get out of a situation as well, donating plasma and move back to a location. See, Spencer is like, God, everyone in this story is just completely unreliable. So, you know, it's like, who do I think is like, I could easily believe Spencer being like this and her being a total wretch and her, you know, trying to get a free lunch, multiple free lunches, and her taking the piss and her lying about what MamaMax is doing, right? But then also, I can see a world where MamaMax is overselling things and saying he's going to do this, that, and the other for the public perception, only to renege on those deals later and not actually go through with them and follow them through. So it's difficult, man. Like, who do I believe? Who is going to be? And this person, I'm expected to just believe as a legitimate source, when, as far as I can tell, the only thing they can prove is that Spencer sent them messages with a bunch of claims, from what I've seen so far, right? I think the videos did not get enough views. And some of the money she did have already that he gave her, she has used to get out of the situation, as well as donating plasma. Move back to a location. Well, wait, I skipped over that. Donating plasma. So she's been donating plasma to make ends meet rather than get a job. Is that right? Okay, now is this the truth? I don't know. This is what she told me when I asked her what she is going to get out of the situation. They both essentially used each other and it's backfiring. The money that should go to the victims is being used to get back to a location. The installments are apparently $660 a month. I think Max didn't starve her, but tried to get her to improve herself, as many have tried to do, including myself, but they view it as harm. This is just a thought. I have no evidence to say he isn't doing these things. I have no evidence to say he isn't doing these things. Well, that's the problem, isn't it? If you can't prove that someone isn't doing something normally, you need to prove that you are doing the things they say they're doing. So if Spencer wants to claim that MamaMax is being a shitter, she is a completely unreliable narrator. So I'm like, well, she needs to put forward evidence to show that, you know, messages or something, you know, that demonstrates what is going on. Like she's backing up her claims that she's being like mistreated by Max in some way. Max starving Spencer are the easiest allegations to be. Okay, dude. And same thing, I informed her of going to homes or reaching out to communities that can help her or working. I mentioned if she works a month or less, she will have the money to leave, but instead she got money through donations. Also, every person I would introduce them to, they would change their stories up to where when these would talk, the other person would be confused because they told one person one thing and told me one thing. Max should have fact-checked before allowing this, and this will be one of the many things of his downfall. I mean, I'm sure this subreddit is just uncritically accepting all of this. Who is this fucking person then? This Has Diesel person? Okay. Oh, this is they put a response about being validated in response to the Hadrian Dev video. We'll have a look at that, I guess. Anyway, let's have a look at these messages. These look fun. Okay. I mean, my instinct is these messages are probably legit. I know that it's possible to fake stuff like this, but faking messages is such a crazy thing to do. You would have to be particularly insane to do this. So, if it's anything, it would probably be that these were sent like as a lie or something like that. But I don't know, man. My gut feeling is Spencer probably is genuinely turning on Max. It's just the way this person has presented everything. It's difficult to discern if they're telling the truth. And then Spencer is also, I think, a known kind of liar and dishonest presenter of things. So can we really trust what they're saying? And obviously Max is a shitter. So I could easily believe some of these things, but without hard proof, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to take Spencer at a fucking word, you know? A lot of drama has fake messages nowadays. Does it really? I can't think of many instances where messages are totally fabricated and faked. When does that really happen? When was the last drama where that actually happened? Anyway, in fact, the only time I can think of like fake messages are when Extreme Dad tried to claim that messages were faked when he'd actually deleted them. Do you remember that? Oh, I don't think I covered the Pokemon Fedmeister stuff. I think I was still doing more politics stuff back then. Oh yeah, this is it. This is the image. Dude, this is actually a really good one. Someone's actually taken the time to colour it in as well, properly. That is fucking banging. Literally. Is this actually a real photo or something? Anyway. Okay, so let's see what Spencer had to say in these messages, and then we'll watch this video about the situation. So I ended up moving in with a YouTuber that was supposed to help me expose the cult as it was my last resort. He promised to cover food, medical, everything. Well, he only wanted to help for the money, so he never paid any of my medical from the start. He was buying food at first, but then he realised the bills are too high. Spencer, I'm spending thousands of dollars a month just to feed you. You're telling me that you need to consume 6,000 calories a day. What the fuck? He promised to cover food, medical, everything. Well, he only wanted to help for the money, so he never paid any of my medical from the start. He was buying food at first, but then he tanked his career, which in turn has people convinced I'm a bad person like him, so people are stalking me online. And wants me out because he's not making money off me, but still wants to try to make money off me. He got me a dog and had me move everything I own to anchor me. Anchor me? Isn't that like an abuse term? Maybe I think it's like the idea that they're trying to get you into that place in order to control you in some fashion. Is that right? Also, this finger pointing is crazy. Like, yes, he definitely had an impact on his own career with his retardation, but part of that was believing you and pushing your story forward. So you have got a role to play in the destruction of his career as well. So yeah, like he's made his own mistakes and he can lie in his own bed because of that. But also you played a part in that. So it's so crazy to be like, well, he tanked his career. Yeah, pushing your fucking story forward. Yeah, exactly. Like Spencer's got a big part to play in all of this. And in all honesty, if MamaMax hadn't done this big piece about Camden Gerard Davis, he'd probably still be making his videos to this day. You know, this was a big thing that eventually got the attention. And it's funny because it didn't happen for months. Initially, it kind of got overlooked and people didn't really pay attention to it. And then obviously he started to try and reach out to bigger creators, and that caused more attention, which eventually led to people talking about it and, you know, scrutinizing it and it falling apart. But yeah, I mean, I think that this was the fact it was Spencer's story that was being pushed forward about this cult and about this stupid vampire cult shit. That was a big part in his downfall for sure. Well, the Magnetar thing as well, that only got really exposed and discussed because of what happened elsewhere. Because,
okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
I hope she grabs her
Because of all the other
chest and
stuff.
falls, and Max and Camden are standing there laughing, pointing and kicking her in the stomach, saying that's what you get.
Thank you for the $5 Canadian. Because I remember when I covered MamaMax's allegations originally, I was convinced by at least the first portion of the video, because there was evidence that you know, there was police reports and stuff to back up the story, and there was this message of MamaMax apologizing, which he even verified himself was true, and then the Magnetar thing at the end. I was like, huh? This seems ridiculous. You're claiming this guy's a nonce that's calling you out. That just seems way too fucking convenient. But it seemed like at the time people accepted it and bought into it, and, you know, thought he'd done a Mr. T Lexify and had exonerated himself. Which was, I mean, I wasn't really as much in the drama arena at the time. I was still doing more political stuff. But it was totally bemusing to me that people later on finding out that people were taken in by that when it was so obvious that he got like, you know, he kind of floated along off the back of his reputation when there was stuff in there that was bad. And then the fact he accused Magnetar, and then that led to people actually believing that Magnetar was this terrible person. Mental. Absolutely mental. Anyway, Anchor me. I figured out a foster for my dog until I can figure permanent housing out. But my biggest issue is needing someone willing to drive the full 18 hours from Dallas to here and here back. I have the U-Haul trailer figured out, but I'm panicked because if I don't get out after my dog leaves on the 15th, I'll be stuck here until after my birthday and have no way to really feed myself. Get a fucking job, Spencer. Okay? What is your disability exactly? Yeah, they're a total fucking parasite. They're a total parasite, dude. Like, MamaMax is a total freak retard. But, like, you also are as well, because you're sat here waiting for fucking MamaMax to feed you. Like, get out and go and work at fucking Walmart. Right? Like, bro, it's so crazy to me. These fucking bedblobs are so entitled that they think they can just sit there and just gimme. Feed me. Most people having to do something to earn some money. Very obvious that there's probably a sour taste in Spencer's mouth with this too, where she thought she was going to get a big, juicy online career off the back of this MamaMax shit. You know, she'd come out with this cult expose and she'd be accepted and be able to build a YouTube channel. Because remember, she had that, what was it, Mama Spencer or something. She set up a second YouTube channel, which had like an interview on it, had MamaMax dancing for 10 hours. So she obviously thought she was going to get something out of it. And then that didn't transpire because everything got scrutinized and exposed for being bullshit, flimsy nonsense. Yeah, there's a whole ass podcast on there. Anti-Spencer. That was it, yeah. Okay, what else have we got? I've been having to live off of donating plasma because I was limited to remote work. And I don't qualify for anything to remote due to my experience. Oh my God. Literally go. Do you guys in America have like job agencies? In the UK, you walk through a town and you have like 5 or 6 different job agencies that you can go to. And they'll go, oh yeah, based on your experience, we've got like 6 or 7 jobs you can go for here. Here you go. Temp agencies, you know, just going and sitting at a fucking office and doing data input for a company or some shit. Like, if you want work, you will find work. Yeah, normally they'll help you with your resume. Over here, we've got, if you want to claim benefits, you have to go see a guy. And they'll help you with your CV and make sure you're applying for work and shit like that. Maybe they're not claiming benefits. I don't know. Well, they tried to maybe, and they couldn't, it said. Like this myth that, you know, yeah, sometimes it's going to be a bit shit and not exactly what you want to do. But if you want to work and earn a crust, you can. Yes, Walmart is always hiring fat white women. You go into Walmart and they're everywhere. When I went in there when I was in the US, it was all fat white women desperate to fucking serve you. I was with a temp agency for 7 months and they made me buy steel-toed shoes to work 4 days in an Amazon warehouse doing construction, which was just picking up debris and pulling tape. Spencer got a nut up. Well, he's got a problem with that, clearly. And give us that hello, welcome to Walmart and take those piercings out. Okay. Anyway, moving on. What else have we got here? He's not physically hurting me, but was withholding funds that were supposed to be mine since January. Saw me struggling to donate plasma just to feed my dog and myself. Gaslights me. Oh, there we go. We got more abuse terminology. Gaslights me and also tried to convince me to break up with Michael. Who is Michael? A boyfriend, I guess. He had $5,000 that he was supposed to give me give to me as funds for the survivors of the cold, but everyone else fucked off. I asked for the money every now and again, but his excuse was always something about bills. That's interesting. He had $5,000 that he was supposed to give back to me as funds for survivors of the cult, but everyone else fucked off. And then she was expecting to just be the recipient of all of that money. See, this is the problem with this, is I can easily imagine MamaMax overselling what he's going to do for her and then under-delivering. And I'd imagine that a lot of his support has probably dried up ever since all the stuff that happened in January. So I think this is probably, some of this is probably true, where he's, oversold and under-delivered. But I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, I'm not just going to accept this without any hard proof or evidence, right? I finally remembered again today, and he's taking $1,700 in expenses. So I only get $3,300, and he wants to do it in 5 payments of $660. I got my first payment today, but with covering my dog's transportation to foster him, it sent me back a bit. Bro, that's crazy. He's only given me $3,300.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Spencer came home frustrated and Max asked what's wrong. She said, I rejected Walmart cause misheard they wanted a greeter not a feeder. Q laugh SFX.
Thank you for the Canadian dollars. Dude, this is the other thing I think as well. Pet people are going to not like this take, I think. Well, maybe you will. Maybe if you're sensible. If you've got a dog and you can't afford to look after yourself, you should get rid of the dog. You should give it up to a home or put it up for adoption or something like that. Okay? It is utterly absurd to me that you are belaboring yourself with this other mouth to feed when you can literally just get rid of it. Which is going to save you a lot of money, especially vet bills and stuff like that. You can't really do that with a kid. Like, if you've got a kid, you've got to find a way to make it through. That's just them's the breaks, okay? But with a dog, that is literally the easiest problem to solve. Yeah, it sucks that you got to say goodbye to your little furry friend. But then you shouldn't have a little furry friend if you can't afford to feed them. It's like you're walking down the street and you see some homeless person with a dog. You're like, what are you doing with that? That's just more money. You're asking me for money. Are you going to feed the dog with that? Because that's a waste to me. I'll give you a $5 if you go and buy a sandwich for yourself, but I'm not giving you money for dog food. I'm not going to bother, If you make a post, please just don't name me, as people on Reddit are stalking me because of this YouTuber, and I don't want to add any fuel to their fire. But hey, even calling around means the world. I'm taking what I can at this point. So I think that the way that I'm looking at this is there's nothing that's stated here which I would just accept. Like, a lot of it seems tailored to appeal to critics of MamaMax and Spencer. Now, these messages would need to either be lies or fraudulently faked or something for some sort of gay op thing. I don't know. I think these messages are probably real. And Spencer probably is turning on MamaMax. And I think this is just Spencer's whole thing is, find someone to leech off them as much as you can. And then when it's time to move on, the next person you want to leech off, tell them how bad the previous person was. And then leech off them for a bit. And then continue that process, right? So now Spencer's looking for a new target to latch onto, and now MamaMax is the bad guy, Worst take, it's not something you have as a hobby, it's family. Bad take, Chud. If you cannot afford to feed yourself, it sucks, but you got to get rid of the dog. That's the correct take. If you disagree, you're a fucking bleeding heart retard, okay? It's very simple. If you can't afford to feed yourself, don't have a fucking dog. Why turn on him now? Well, I don't know when these messages are from. But this could be old, and this person only now is just coming forward, right? Is there any kind of things in the comments? The hill I will... Oh, listen, it's fine. We don't have to get... It's not that big a deal. That's my take on it. Oh, no one was right with Spencer. Okay, this is just people commenting on it. Genuine question. Okay, so there's more from this Hadizel person here. Genuine question. Why does she not get a job? I get remote work across experience, but the gas station down the street does not. That's some money. Yeah, good question. Because of a disability she claims to have, she claims she cannot work because she doesn't know what it will do to her if it can put her in bed for weeks or not. I think she, just like me, has high functioning anxiety, and many others who socialize or go to work and come home and just have to lay in bed or have moments to themselves. The thing is, this is very normal. Well, not very normal, but it's common for a lot of people, and you just find ways to fix that. I mean, the thing is that is believable to me. Spencer seems like exactly the kind of person who will claim they're not able to work. It's the fucking fibromyalgia thing. It's like the fibromyalgia thing or chronic fatigue syndrome thing, where there may be something legitimate somewhere that some people have these conditions and it means they can't work. But there's a lot of people who say they've got conditions so they don't have to fucking work, right? And it's the classic thing of, unless you are literally medically incapable, like there are serious forms of mental illness where you can't work, like serious, severe depression or, actual medical stuff like a heart attack or, some sort of cancer where you literally cannot physically work because you're too weak or you've got some other issue, right? But a lot of I don't want to say a lot. I think that there are just cases where people will say or that they've got things or they can't work, and they do it because it's the easy ride and it's the easy way to do it. Malingering, it's called, isn't it? And also, there are people that do have conditions and do have illnesses, and they do work, and they just have agreements and allowances with the company they work for, where occasionally, I mean, obviously, it depends on the company and how often it is. The better the company, the better chance you'll have or the ride you'll get with it. But it's kind of like, okay, well, if you need to take a day off every so often, every couple of months for it, then we can accept that. So even if you've got certain conditions, there are companies that are willing to, have like a part-time thing or have some sort of agreement. Like if you want to earn money, you can earn money. Like it is that simple. This idea that, I can't find work, it's such a fucking fantasy. Not in the US. I always hear stuff like that. I very much doubt that it is completely impossible for someone who, even if they've got these kind of medical conditions that impede them working, they can't find a company that's willing to have some sort of allowances for that. And, in terms of like disability and stuff like that, all of that shit is like front and center now. And companies are wanting to have people on the books that they can point to go, yeah, we've got X% disabled workers or something. And they want to be, especially big companies, they want to be seen to be forward thinking, progressive, and things like that, But yeah. Anyway, yeah, so this excuse, I mean, obviously this is from Hadizel. I do think it is believable to me that Spencer is this kind of person, the bed blob. It does sound about right to me, but it sounds like bullshit. Very normal. I tried to recommend. Okay. Unfortunately, she doesn't, and that's why she stays in these situations. I tried recommending jobs within walking distance or less that I would personally find for her, and she would not do it. You could give them the game plan of how to fix their life, and they would find an excuse. Not to be rude, not trying to gossip on their behalf, but to answer your question, they simply don't want to improve their circumstances for whatever reason that is. Like, look, guys, the reality of it is this, okay? In the Western world, it is very difficult to get in a situation where you're completely fucked. Okay, this is like a classic leftoid trick of talking about how many fucking homeless people there are. Okay, and yes, there is absolutely a problem with fucking homeless people being homeless, and if they're genuine in that situation, it sucks. Shit for them. Getting out of that is hard. But for most people, you'll be able to find a way to make it through between government benefits and some sort of job.
The people who say you can't do that in the US have never negotiated their employment. They just accept the employment contract without discussing it.
Thank you for the $10. Musty, a guy we can trusty. Thank you for that. There's this narrative of like how hard it is and how difficult it is and all this shit. And it's like, if you look people in America, the amount of people who are totally fucked is such a small percentage of the overall population. And most people are doing okay, right? Most people are doing okay. And then the people that are fucked, there are people that are actually genuinely fucked over here. But then there's also people that act like they're fucked or say that they're fucked. But actually, there's plenty of avenues available to them that they just choose not to take and they don't bother taking, right? Tell my mate that with 3 jobs, unable to pay his mortgage, he'd be better off homeless. Well, I mean, if he is working 3 jobs and he can't afford his mortgage, sounds to me like he shouldn't have that fucking mortgage then. Like, yeah, of course, you got to live within your means. I don't know the situation, but if you're working 3 jobs and you can't afford your mortgage, sounds like you're going to have to fucking downsize. I mean, what the fuck can you do? And also, there's more claims here from Hadizel. So what's the disability that she's claiming to have? She's claimed to have autism to me, but no tests were done. She took an autism test online. Bro, get her a job in accounting or fucking something with money, with numbers. Get her a job of chucking matchsticks on the floor and counting them. Get her a job at the matchstick factory. We need 36 matches in each box. No problem. 36, 36, 36, 36. Boom. You're laughing.
Okay, that's wonderful. But how do I make money off depressed people?
These kids are all
Yes.
Gen Z or millennials. No one told them how to properly get employed, they just get shafted by their employers. Me.
Base,
Okay,
thank you for the
but how do I make
further
money
$10.
off
Musty
depressed
musty.
people?
When I worked at the grocery store, there were mouth droolers like that guy at the DNC bagging groceries. No excuses, bed blues.
Thank you for the $5. Dude, between jobs, I worked at HMV when I was in my early 20s. And I've been doing like a sales job, earning quite good money. And then all of a sudden, basically it's a long story, but I couldn't do that job anymore. The stores closed and stuff. It was a concession store and a record store, and that closed. So for a couple of months, I ended up working in a fucking, in a record store. It sucked. I was on like minimum wage. My boss was a fucking dickhead. But I slummed it out for a bit. Until eventually the company I worked for offered me another job in another part of the country. So I moved down. You end up taking a job like that, slumming it out for a bit, and then an opportunity comes along, or you find another opportunity, HMV still exists, doesn't it, in some places, but a lot of them are closed now. I miss HMV. Problem is, a lot of it is online, Amazon and stuff. That's the issue. Anyway, anyone can do that, and if you have BPD, bipolar anxiety, I tried it myself when she told me about it for shits and giggles, and received that I'm probably autistic and should go be evaluated. I've been diagnosed with ADHD through evaluation, so obviously that's probably why I received that. They claim to have some physical pain problem as well, which I'm sure is true, but you can have physical chronic pain and unfortunately not be given disability, but there's nothing that is verified. Bro, it is so absurd to me. Like, these bed blobs are unbelievable. Anyway. Oh! Nicholas Doria mentioned. Anyway, this person goes on further, but I want to watch this video about it now. Maybe we'll come back to this if there's more goodies. More goodies to find. But, yes. Yeah. This is the video. Hadrian Dev put this video out, which apparently was much touted. So let's see what this is all about. 9 hours ago. I'll subscribe as well.
I will break your fingers.
After my last video on Max, a source close to Spencer reached out to me with the truth about Spencer, and they explained all of Spencer's lies that she spread about herself and her backstory on the internet. They would like to remain anonymous, but if any large YouTuber wants to cover this story, reach out to me and I'll put you in contact with my source and you can verify the truth of what I say in this video.
Hey! There he is, Hadrian Dev. How's it going?
So Spencer, aka Shelby, is a person who was, according to her, involved in a vampire cult. This cult leader was a man called Camden Gerard Davis. He allegedly abused her and kept her in that cult and manipulating her to stay. She ran away to that cult from her abusive family and managed to get out, and she went to MamaMax to break the story and make videos about it.
My name is Spencer,
Hey!
and I am a survivor of Camden Gerard Davis,
Classic.
the leader of a destructive cult that has victimized hundreds of minors. This video is our
I'm gonna be back after
action.
On March 18th, 2016,
Is he going to show the thing?
a
Please.
16-year-old girl from
Please
Wyoming,
show the
Texas,
thing.
mysteriously disappeared, lured by the illusion of joining a supernatural
Please.
family
Please.
as a vampire on some random corner of the internet. She actually found herself ensnared in a dangerous sex cult led by a child predator posing as a werewolf god. The man had recruited hundreds of young children, subjecting them to... Almost 7 years later, Spencer and the other survivors shared their stories with me. This video serves as their scream for action against their perpetrator.
Yes.
At least that's her side of the story.
Yes. Absolutely classic. It never gets old. It never gets fucking old, dude. Camden Gerard Davis. Leviathans are coming for you. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Dude, that's probably one of my favourite things I've ever covered. The MamaMax stuff. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. Very good for the channel as well. But yeah, that was absolutely classic. And it's funny, and I've spoken about this before, but I watched it when it first came out, and I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. But then nothing happened. Like, nothing happened off the back of it. No one spoke about it. No one covered it. No one really picked it up. Because obviously people weren't looking to cover it one way or another, because MamaMax is a total fucking freak. But didn't want to say that.
How do I make money off depressed people?
I'll show you my thing. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Thank you, Caleb, for the $2. But then somehow, I mean, I can't even piece that. I couldn't even tell you exactly how it happened in the process. But just over time, it slowly started to pick up traction. There wasn't much to cover. What? This fucking MamaMax guy. If you want to verify stuff in this vid, I'll put you in contact with them. Yeah, sure. If you could. On Discord, ChudLogic. That'd be good. I don't agree with that. I think there was stuff to cover because of how absurd it was. At the start. What, wait. No, that is from the first video. That is the first video that he did. Don't go ape mode. I'm very relaxed. I'm chill. But I'm just saying that I think that that mentality was not born out of the fact that there wasn't stuff to cover. It's just that, you know, MamaMax still benefited from his credibility for some reason because people were so fucking retarded. And so no one really spoke about it, even though it was obviously fucking absurd. I did milk it. Yeah, I milked it to the ends of the earth. Yeah. But no, it was absolutely absurd. But then I covered it and thought it was absurd and ridiculous. And no one else really spoke about it. And I was just like, well, I guess that's not going to come of anything. That's it then. Let's move on to other stuff. Like, it started off and he was doing, I'm doing a questionnaire to see if you're part of a cult. Send this to your favorite influencer. And then it goes on to fucking, the fucking hardcore tech beat. As he cycles through these creators. PewDiePie, you're a father. Anthony Fantano. Okay, dude. Oh, okay. Okay, that's fair. I'm talking about the lack of solid evidence they provided at first. So that, okay, from the perspective of the allegation, there wasn't much to cover. But the absurdity of the video, there was plenty of material there. There was absolutely insane amounts of material to talk about and have a fucking pop at. But it didn't seem to happen until January. People were just like, it just kind of passed everyone by. When I thought, nah, this is fucking banging content to have a bit of a laugh at, you know? And it was probably, I tell you what it was as well, it's probably behind the scenes stuff too. With, you know, MamaMax reaching out to all these people.
But how do I make money off depressed people?
Please do not abandon your loved ones the way Joshua Moon abandoned me.
Thank you for the €5. What is this Joshua? Okay, I don't know what this is all about. Are you trying to say Joshua Moon is Jewish? Is that what this is? Yeah, sure, okay. Okay. I agree. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I think that there wasn't much to cover in terms of allegations. But it seemed like, and I think that was probably a product of people reaching out to him, as people were probably like, oh God, this is fucking gay, but I'm just going to give it a miss, I think. He's begging me to cover it, but I'm just going to say it's gay, so fuck it.
And her story has plenty of holes in it, as you'll see in a bit. Now, the internet already picked up on this when the whole thing about Max was exposed, and everyone already became suspicious of Spencer's intentions. They suspected she's lying, but nobody had the actual truth until now. And recently, an alleged friend of Spencer came out explaining their story with Spencer and how Spencer has lied and manipulated her way through every situation. There has also been some suspicious activity going on in the subreddit, such as brand new accounts joining, making posts about Spencer and then getting deleted, etc. So there's definitely something weird going on ever since Max tanked his career, and especially since we got him fired from the Casa del Paso thing. So I'll go over each of her many claims about herself and about her past, and her life about Camden, the cult, and life with MamaMax, starting with her past. Her first claim is that she was abused by her family, and this is one of Spencer's main lies. Spencer was not abused by her family, at least from what I gather. She grew up in a good home in Texas and had whatever she...
Whoa! Why is there pictures? Okay, this is a bit weird. What the fuck is going on? So this is a picture of Spencer as a kid. How is this weird? Well, because of how different she looks, for one thing. Well, I'm guessing that the source probably sent these through or something, right? Or, I don't know, these from another website perhaps, I don't know. He's talking about how the life she had isn't what she said. Maybe there's... Okay. I think Spencer's a liar and she's probably making a bunch of shit up. But, I mean, this is just a couple of photos of a nice time. Anyway, yeah, listen, to be clear, the thing that's weird is just, I don't know. It's just a bit odd and unnerving seeing someone that you've covered a lot, images of them as a fucking kid out of nowhere. But nonetheless, at the end of the day, yeah, I'm sure they've misrepresented their upbringing. I'm sure that's true.
Wanted. She was obsessed with online serial killer roleplay and all kinds of other not safe for work stuff from a young age, and you can even see that from the Tumblr accounts and who she interacted with. She was also good friends with a person who wrote a lot of this roleplay still, which I won't name right now, and this...
Huh? So they're like, oh my god, they're like a horror, they're like, oh god, I know exactly what this kind of person is like, obsessed with horror movies. Obsessed with horror movies, so obviously everything that came out of their mouth in regards to the cult was like the script of a fucking horror movie or something, right? Leatherface roleplay. So what happened was she was given unfettered internet access. Yes, exactly.
Involved a lot of and serial killer roleplay, etc. So she most likely started believing all of this roleplay stuff she was involved in. Now, when she ran away from home, she alleges that her stepmother hit her. However, this person that reached out to me has a different story. So she was going to have her phone taken away, and she didn't like that, so when that happened, she physically struck her stepmother before running away from home. Spencer was never abused as a child, or abused at all. She did go missing when she ran away to a boyfriend, but she was not gone long. There was never a cult, it was a role-playing group. When her grandfather died, she went to live with Max because he was paying for her.
Have you not? Yeah, there's that's an old thing, I thought. I've seen that before, I think. But then again, I have covered this a lot. So, but yes, that is exactly it. She had all these videos of her doing shit like this, basically.
For her to do a story so they could make money on YouTube. I have seen so many videos on the internet about her, and everyone here is disgusted that knows her. She has claimed abuse her whole life. She claims to have disabilities, she claims she never went to therapy. Everything out of her mouth is a lie. I literally saw a video where she says her stepmother abused her. No, she attacked her stepmother when her stepmother took her phone at 14. So she ran away to be with her boyfriend in a role-playing group. I know your videos haven't covered a lot of that story, but I'm just finding anybody that is willing to know that she was not abused. She has claimed abuse on her family, she's claimed abuse of friends, she's claimed abuse of people that have employed her. She says she can't hold a job due to disabilities, and she's a fraud.
Yeah, I mean, this is stuff that's difficult to conclusively prove, particularly if it's from a long time ago, but I mean, Spencer is just a fucking freak. Like, yeah, I am willing to accept that she has very likely misrepresented a lot about herself. And, you know, yeah, exactly. It's like, the reality is, most people's lives, you have hardships and troubles, right? But this story of endless problems in your life is so rare to actually be the case, right? The people that actually go through really shitty experiences, it's very rare that it's as bad as someone like Spencer will present it as. And, you know, yeah, I don't know. It just, this is very, even though it's difficult to prove this stuff, I'm like, I can kind of get on board with this anyway. I believe that she probably is the kind of person who will misrepresent. Like, every state she's gone to, she's been raped, apparently. Like, come on, dude. Like, just a life of endless calamity and misery. Or is it that she's always got a story to tell because she's looking for the next person that she can hopefully leech off for a bit, you know?
She was never thrown around in foster care. She went to a group home when she was found in Georgia after her and that Camden broke up, and she was found in a park and then was picked up by her family. She never wanted to follow rules. She didn't want to go to school. She lived in a fantasy world online and the internet has ruined her. And now it's all about trying to become famous and making money.
Yeah.
I also want to say this child from her whole...
Again, a career in online content is something that a jobless retard bedblob will think that they can do. But, you know, obviously thought they had their foot in the door with this Camden Gerard Davis stuff. That hasn't panned out. That hasn't worked out. They've been leeching off MamaMax. That hasn't panned out either. You know, they wanted a quick, easy route to a YouTube channel that was successful, but probably found out very quickly that it ain't that easy and it ain't that simple. And you actually need to put stuff out that's compelling and people want to watch if you want to make something of it. You can't just rest on your laurels and have some elaborate story about a cult, a vampire cult, and just rely on that for the rest of your days, you know? So yeah, this is quite believable to me. I'm on board with a lot of this on its face, to be honest. So that's kind of where I am with this, really.
The story I heard online from the beginning is really disgusting. Shelby was a spoiled child who grew up with everything she's ever wanted. She lives in a fantasy world and is always a victim. She really needs to be in a mental hospital right now. The next claim is that she is disabled. Spencer often lies saying that she is disabled or has some sort of disability, however that's far from the truth. As far as I know, she has no diagnosed physical disability. In fact, according to my source, she has attempted to get disability payments by pretending to be disabled in court and carrying a cane. This is also confirmed by the recent post on the subreddit.
Yeah. So to clarify then, these are two different people then. So the person on the subreddit is different to this individual that has come forward. Is that right? So we're dealing with two different people coming forward about Spencer.
Which is posted by an old friend of Spencer. One of the things that they said is that Spencer tried to get disability checks but was refused. Now, she had a job at a vape shop, but she couldn't hold it down because she had to mop a floor and she refused to do so because of her disability, or at least...
Oh my god, dude. Yeah, the problem I've got with that is this is confirmed by this post. Well, it's not confirmed. There's no evidence of this. It's just another person has also claimed this, right? So yeah, I don't know, dude. I'm just a bit... Why is this happening now? So this person came forward on the subreddit and this person has come forward now. I do believe some of this. I think this is probably true, but why now? Why is this happening now in August of 2024? Like, what is going on? Is it the other person saw it and decided to come forward? Or is there some sort of fucking gay op on? Is Max releasing a video soon and this is some sort of bait? I don't know. Anything is possible with this fucking weirdo. She couldn't mop the floor because she doesn't know how, because everything was handed to her in her youth, probably. You know, maybe it's the other stuff that's happened that's made them come forward. Yeah, Spencer said on Facebook that she needed money and that kicked everything off. Yeah, okay. And this has led to more people coming, yeah. Yeah, there's something not quite right. It feels too good to be true. It could be that it's all legit and everything's above board. And, you know, Hadrian Dev said that they could verify, connect me with this person and they can verify themselves the validity of what they're talking about. But when something's too good to be true, It's like everything is being handed to you on a silver platter of like the juicy story that you want. I'm always a bit dubious, you know? Love being fired without being told why. Update. Was fired for being unable to mop due to my disabilities. Update 2. This is at a vape shop. Are you not going to clarify why? I would appreciate at least that. It's several reasons of complaints from employees there. Not being able to clean due to your disabilities, which is another thing for this job, not meant for you, that we need someone who can do these things. Yeah, I mean, if you work in a store, it's reasonable that you'd have to at times clean it. That's quite standard. So this idea, I mean, yeah, sometimes you're going to have to mop the floor. When I worked in retail, even as a manager, you know, you still pitch in and like mop the floor. You know, you might mop the floor at the end of a day, pitch in as well. And then when you're like an associate or whatever, yeah, of course. Yeah, it's a vape shop as well. I mean, how much fucking square meters is that going to be for a vape shop? Normally you've got like a small counter area and you'd have stock out back. Normally they just want you to mop the generally speaking, the front of house stuff every day, and then back of house you do like every week or something, right? Chud sweeping. Well, this is the problem. She didn't sweep. It's several, yeah. Also, it's what it sounds like as well is other employees were complaining about her. So it's probably not just this. It's probably other things that she did.
Disability she claims she has. But as far as I know, and as far as anybody I've talked to about this that's close to her knows, she does not have a disability or any diagnosed physical disability. Recently, she went online trying to get a lawyer to fight disability because she got a job and she said she couldn't mop because she's been trying to get disability forever. And she has no documentation for it, so she's been denied. So she pretends to be a victim all the time, and that's how she gets what she wants. This is also confirmed by that Reddit post.
Why do I care that some fat chick can't keep a job? Because it's trying to demonstrate this person's like a liar and they're lying about. I mean, I already thought this would be the case without necessarily going into it, but being presented it here, it's like, yeah, this person very likely is lying about these things, right? What you see versus what you believe. Very true.
Now, one of the major claims that she makes is that she was abused by Camden.
We had a great time today and them together. Babe met the parents today and it went really well. Okay, these are new. Are these new? These look new.
And was involved in this huge vampire cult. Now, Camden most likely did not have any type of cult, at least not one as big as her and Max claim. They say he has hundreds of members in this cult, however, this is most likely just a role-playing group of a bunch of people who were really into that stuff. On one of Max's current unlisted shorts, there is a screenshot of a Facebook post by...
So they dated? Yeah. Yeah, they were together. They were like an item. There's videos, there's a video of a very gross video of them doing some weird kiss thing or something, some sort of neck kiss bitey thing or something like that. But yes, they were an item.
What he alleges was Camden himself. The icon at the top of the post shows that whoever was seeing this post had to be a friend of Camden's on this account. But other than that, this pattern here I was able to reverse image search, and it turns out it comes from a show called Teen Wolf. The show is about, quote, a young werewolf who defends his town from supernatural...
I mean, yeah, the cult stuff has been scrutinized and fell apart, really. So what you're telling me, Chud, is that she's a queen of spades. Okay. She is you know, she probably isn't shy of the BBC. Let's put it that way.
Creatures. This same werewolf, quote, must control animalistic instincts that are amplified by feelings of aggression and full moons. Now, this might not seem too relevant, but Spencer over and over again claimed that in the many interviews she had, that Camden forced her to have sex with him outside whenever there was a full moon. So it seems like Camden was role-playing this character from the show, that or Spencer just made all of it up, because she was a fan of the show or something. As I talked about before, she's into some really messed up roleplay stuff, so it wouldn't surprise me. Now, when she ran away from home, Camden offered her to go live with him, so she ran away to Georgia to live with him. Just a few months later, she was found sleeping on a park bench and taken into a group home, until her family fought to get custody of her again and bring her home. The most likely reason for her leaving Camden is that Camden...
Wait, so, hang on. But this is also what's said in the Reddit post. This could all be legit. Okay? I just find it really odd that there's these people coming forward now. They're independently verifying this same narrative. It either means that it's all true and correct, and it's just multiple different sources confirming it, or there's something else afoot, like some weird gay op is happening, and I just don't want to get blindsided by some gay op. So, as much as I want to believe, and do believe some of this stuff, I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to hold a bit of skepticism. So I'm like, okay, if this turns out to be bullshit, I'm not totally blindsided by it, okay? Yeah, no, I like this video. It's good. It's not even a criticism of the video as such. I think the video is good. Someone said the video sucked in chat. I actually think I quite like it. Genuinely, I'm not just being nice. I'm not just being a nice guy. But yeah, I've got a funny feeling. I'm just going to hold a bit of skepticism. But yeah, I think that there is, even in that, you know, this story is very believable to me. Of Spencer being this total bed blob leech is very believable to me.
Camden broke up with her and she didn't take that breakup very well. Did Camden abuse her? I can't confirm or deny. But judging from all these details I found, her history of lying, the recent Reddit post, and the story I got from my source, she most likely is at the...
I think the video is pointless if we can't verify most of it. Yeah, the trouble is, I can understand with all the stuff that's happened with the MamaMax shit, you know, not wanting to come forward because it's such a mess. And you might end up getting a lot of attention and scrutiny and people coming for you and shit like that. I don't know. But, yeah.
At the very least, heavily embellishing the facts of what happened. When she was back home, later on she reached out to Max through a friend who is Max's sister, and Max offered to pay her and give her a place to live and, quote, help her make YouTube money. In exchange, of course, for her to be on camera and give her story about Camden. She most likely saw this as a good opportunity to get easy money and get back at Camden for the breakup. So it was a match made in heaven. He used her for the money and she used him for the money. Another one of her claims is that she was SA'd in Arkansas on her way to Camden in Georgia.
Yeah. Everywhere she turns, there's a rapist ready to pounce. Either the recipient of the worst bad luck in the world, or there's some embellishment or outright lies happening in this story. Oh, I met this other person and they decided to molest me too. Would you believe it?
Georgia. She said she was SA'd on her way to Georgia in Little Rock, Arkansas. This happened according to her in the bus bathroom. However, Spencer is not this weak victim she tries to portray herself as. Her being SA'd there without her fighting back or anyone hearing anything is most likely just a lie. Now, when she was booking her ticket in Dallas, she couldn't get one to Georgia because she was a minor at the time, but she did convince an elderly woman to buy a ticket for her, so she has been lying and manipulating her way at every step. The next claim is that she has multiple miscarriages. Even according to that same subreddit post, the OP explains that they found it odd that Spencer had that many miscarriages in that short of a time period. Now this one sort of ties into, you know, her time with Camden. She alleges that she lived in Camden's family's home without them knowing. However, this most likely is not the case, since if she lived there for multiple months, for the whole family to not notice anything, I find hard to believe. The next and most recent...
Dude, I feel like I've said every joke I can think of about that situation. The idea of Spencer living there and no one noticing. Large portions of food go missing. Where's all this food going? Oh, dude. I really want to watch one of the old MamaMax videos to as a bit of nostalgia. I think we will after this. Just as a little treat before we move on to the next thing.
Recent claim is that Max is starving her and abusing her. Max is most likely not starving her. And actually, allegedly, Max has been using a food bank for some time now, at least since we got him fired from the Casa of El Paso thing. And
the thing I don't understand is, I know MamaMax, you know, got probably a lot of support lost over all of this stuff, but where's all his money that he made? Like, he made loads of money doing this. He's got nothing to show for it. Like, YouTubers are so fucking insanely bad with money. It's crazy to me. Like, obviously, you know, I mean, I just spent quite a bit of money going away with the kids and stuff. So, you know, I'm not exactly like penny pinching or anything like that. But even in my humble time, I've managed to, you know, save a bit of money. And it's just so wild to me that these people that are making orders of magnitude more money than me don't end up with anything. And then apparently they're what? Using food banks to survive. What is this? What kind of goddamn food bank? Edited to add. The only other thing they gave us was a giant sack of potatoes. Absolutely based food bank. Just a sack of potatoes and some ketchup. He's out there on that fucking Martian. You know that movie The Martian where he's got all these potatoes for fucking months to survive.
Food bank for some time.
Also, if you don't just want to get potatoes from a food bank, could you, I don't know, get a job perhaps? Is that a possibility?
Now, at least since we got him fired from the Casa of El Paso thing. And Max is even paying the money he owes her, around $5,000 in monthly payments of around $600. So he most likely does have some money left, but he just does not want to spend it, and he's trying to pressure Spencer into leaving or something else. Now, I've been in contact with the...
Yeah, I reckon my guess would be that MamaMax probably has a lot of bitterness and anger towards Spencer because he probably sees her as the source of a lot of his problems. You know, he's got his own fucking bed to lie in over that whole mess. But I can also understand looking at Spencer and being like, this is your fault, bitch. I trusted you and I believed you.
The MamaMax discussion subreddit mods for some time now, and there has been some unusual activity going on in the sub, most likely Spencer or her friends making fake accounts, posting about Spencer to paint her in a good light, and then immediately deleting the accounts. There are even screenshots now of Spencer asking people to make posts about her in the sub, and allegedly she is currently back in the Dallas-Fort Worth area as of last week. So yeah, again, if there is any large YouTuber that would like to cover this, I'd be more than willing to put them in contact with my source so they can get all the up-to-date information and make their own video. This story definitely does go a lot deeper, so I'll make more videos on this if I get more info in the near future. So please, if you have any information and are close to either Max or Spencer, reach out anonymously and give your story. If Max or Spencer want to reach out and clear up some facts about anything I said, I am more than happy to host a dialogue here. I'm also trying to get to 1,000 subs, so I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe and get me there. So
Yes! Subscribe to this guy. That was a great video. Dude, for someone with 653 subs, that is a very impressive video, I must say. Very high quality video for someone with less than 1k subs. So go and subscribe. Come on, guys. Do the right thing. Come on, go and subscribe now. We might be able to get into 1,000 subs if you actually pull your fucking fingers out and start subscribing for once in your lives. Anyway, I missed a super chat. Thank you, Musty, a guy we can trusty. Thank you for the $10. Appreciate it. Thank you. Do the needful. Now. Look, they're at 666. We've already got a bunch of subs. Let's keep it going. Hey, yo. That's what I'm talking. Yes. I'm loving this channel. This channel's great. Let's go! Love it. Hey, look, they're trying to capitalize on the thumbnail, but it didn't work, unfortunately. That's sad. That's tragic. It happens. It happens. Mega update. That did quite well. Master Uguay fumbled his career. Dude, I don't even know anything about this. Anyway, we're not watching it now. I've got other stuff we're getting to today. 682, come on, guys. Come on, subscribe.